Hello, everyone, and welcome to Twillow Talk. I'm Tanis Coughlin from the Twillow Lifestyle Community, Twillow Lifestyle Academy, and I do all sorts of energy stuff, and I'm a channel and do Celtic Shamanic High Priestess stuff and galactic stuff, and I am joined by my beautiful co-host, Jennifer Jurkofsky, who also does lots of stuff. What stuff do you do, Jen?
Oh, golly, what do I do? I am a registered psychotherapist, certified Canadian counselor, intuitive life coach, and I do all the energies stuff too.
Awesome. And we are joined as well by our awesome guest, who's really kind of resident now, not necessarily, but we like him to feel special, so he's a special guest. Gerald from TarotStache.
Hello, I'm glad to be here.
Always awesome to have you. Do you want to share what you do as well?
I really enjoy doing private readings. Contact information linked below. I I curate my tarot collection. I am an artist, and I am a teacher. So I like to teach a variety of things. So,
which we're excited about.
So, yeah. Thank you.
Always wonderful to have you.
Thank you.
And we have crazy energies.
We got some energies.
We do. They're not really showing up in the Schumann the last couple of days, which is interesting. But I'm feeling them. So let's take a look at that Schumann thing. So today we're at 9, which is actually really manageable. It's not that far off, right? 7.8 is our sort of baseline, or at least it has been. This seems to be more of a neutral sort of main baseline these days. So that's interesting. When we look at the space weather live, we have a lot of solar storms, as you can see here. I opened up the page and I went, whoa, that's a lot of orange. Okay, cool. So solar flares, we have these. Nothing too much in the last day or so, but we did over the weekend and Friday have a bunch of stuff. We had a lot of M-class, and in the last week we've had like 3 or 4 X-class, which is pretty intense. So, yeah. So what are the transits saying about all that, Jen?
Yeah, well, I guess we're just kind of coming off of some of that, huh?
We are.
Telling you. Yeah, so we just entered into the 4th gate, or the 4th gene key. And so this one is really cool. And you know what? With Gerald here today, we'll try something too. But well, and it's a perfect transit for it too. So the transit is like the transit of answers, right? Or formalization. So the idea is the archetype is the philosopher, right? And so this is energy is in the ajna, and it's a collective circuit energy, and it's really about our ability to kind of tap into and understand things more. The I Ching, it's the logic protects from misfortune, right? And so this ability to really tap into our knowing, but really recognizing that the mind, again, can't hold that energy, right? We really have to be able to tap into the body's knowing, and that's going to bring us a deeper understanding. So it's an interesting kind of thing, because the energy here is to understand, but it's also to resolve. It's about relationships, because it's that communal understanding. And then there's this also idea of, kind of formalizing and ideas, in the sense that, we may get kind of caught up in something. And if we allow ourselves to get caught up in it, there's this dissatisfaction that comes from it. And we get caught up in, the dilemma of reason. So this kind of need to find answers, and that can kind of take over. Right. And so the energy here, we want to make sure that we're not getting stuck in intolerance. Right. And that we're not getting caught up in Either being at a point of apathy where it's like, I'm so done, right? That I'm just the mind collapses and there's no longer the ability for expansion and understanding. Or the other side of that, the reactive side is nitpicking, right? And so being really kind of caught up in all the details.
Yeah.
And so just kind of noticing if we're getting stuck in either of those areas, what is it that we want to bring forward, right? And the gift of this is understanding. And Richard Rudd calls it quantum koans. And so it's things to ponder is what it means, right? It's things
Okay.
to think about, things to ponder on, and allowing the mind to expand by recognizing, and this is my favorite thing, open and curious, right? Can I be open? Can I be curious? Can I allow understanding to come in a way that is not caught up in the mind, but in really holding space for what's possible? And it's really interesting because the siddhi for this is forgiveness, right? And we talk about like the Ho'oponopono and things like that.
Mhm.
And it's such a beautiful piece because when we really bring it back, ultimate forgiveness is for ourselves
It
and for
is.
all the things that we get caught up in and that we let our mind get caught up in and all of that. And the quote is, forgiveness is the thunderbolt that is released when a being attains that Christ consciousness, right? That ability to connect with that higher self consciousness, right?
Mhm.
And it's amazing because the expansion that can come from that understanding, it really is limitless in so many ways. And it's beautiful too because the energy of this is really for like unity and moving the collective forward, right?
Yeah.
So what I wanted to do, Gerald, which I thought would be fun, is you've asked me before about the tarot card that's associated with a gate. And so we can play this little game where when you're on with us, we can check in and see what the association is, or if you can, see maybe if that makes sense or not. So the association for this one is the 8 of Pentacles.
Okay. Do you want me to show the 8 of Pentacles?
If you want to, or even just kind of share a bit about what that represents for you, and we'll see if it...
The 8 of Pentacles represents the need to do the simple menial tasks over and over and over and over again because you're learning a skill and you're repeatedly doing that because it helps your body to understand automatically what to do. So then you don't have to think about it.
Okay.
And then it moves away from I have to do it this way. I have to do it this way. Yeah, chop wood, carry water. It's very much the repetitive thing because it allows it to become a natural aspect so you don't have to think about it anymore.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So that coincides with some of the energy of the gate in terms of testing a theory and finding answers and proving them with trial and error over and over and over again.
Yes. Yeah. That's cool.
Isn't that what we're here for? On Earth?
Yeah.
I mean,
sometimes.
Yeah.
That learning.
Super cool.
That's
Absolutely.
great.
So we should say hello to a few people.
Yeah, let's.
All right. So we have Kaylee. Hey, Kaylee. Thanks for joining us. We have Hypnocity, who had our chop wood, carry water. And we have Rachel Jewell. Welcome. I think there's a few others there that aren't chatting yet. Please feel free to do so. And we're always happy to have the interaction. So, on that note, what do you think we should talk about today? Should we pick a card? Gerald, did you want to add something to the update for where we're at energetically?
I think because last week was the 888 portal a whole lot of stuff going on. It's very important for us to remember, like a week before the actual date, that energy shows up, and a week after the energy shows up. We're experiencing Mercury retrograde, which can impact a lot of people. There's an opportunity for people to remember to be magical during this time. So,
well, isn't that interesting? Because the crystal of the week, you can go check out Crystal of the Week, Mystic Merlin, which is all about the magic.
Amazing.
Oh, Hypnocity, that's awesome.
Good for you.
Yay!
So we were on a show with Kaylee yesterday on Woo Woo Wonderment, and we were talking about energy healing, and we were sending energy out to those that were on, and of course, if you watch, you'll receive as well. And we managed to get rid of her tinnitus.
Yay!
That's nice.
And so it's still gone. That's awesome. Thank you.
That is
Always good to get the feedback.
Well, and what a great example of the card that I got. What if it was easy?
What if it was?
What if it was easy?
I like the sound of that.
I know, right? Well, I mean, we get so caught up in our head and we complicate so much.
We do.
It doesn't have to be hard. Call in the universe, the stars, the angels, and all their powers. Find the solution. Would you take the next step if it were easy? It's time to expect ease. Call in grace and receive guidance. You are supported. Today's soul action lists 10 possible ideals for your soul's current calling. Lean into ease. It's here. You just have to say yes to it.
Nice. Okay, can you just read the play work again? Is this one from the for topics, or is this the other deck? Oh no, the other deck is okay. Good.
This is the one.
That's the one.
So we've got what if it was easy?
So just the play work part.
And then
or the home play part.
back there. List 10 possible ideals for your soul's current calling.
Ooh, okay. Well, that plays into what you were talking about in terms of judgment and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Well, and holding space for the possibility of it, right? Like that's what we're talking about. And it's so interesting because, I talked about this being like a collective understanding circuit that this is a part of. And the energy of that is here to course correct, right? The energy is here to improve or start a new pattern for the collective, with the collective. So this is really cool because in light of, what Gerald had shared with the Eight of Pentacles too, it is that we're making another pattern. What do we want to do with this energy that we have? Where do we want to go with that? What new pattern do we want to put in place? And so what if it were easy, right? What if these new patterns that we want to put in place were actually to ease our process and to get us out of our head and to actually help us in this moving forward collective process?
Yeah, because we're making new connections up there, right? All the time. So this is a way to do that.
Yeah.
So home play.
Yeah.
There you go. And I think if it were, the idea of things being easy, we don't appreciate things when they're easy. We can take them for granted. So when things challenge us at some level, there's there's more of an energetic connection with it.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
Yeah.
But this is the piece, and this is where we look at what is the mind doing? Because even challenges can be easy.
Say more about that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have something that we want to accomplish, and it seems difficult. So the mind jumps in, and the mind goes, oh, this is a mountain. this is something I'm going to have to climb. I don't know if I can do this. Oh my goodness, look at all the steps I'm going to have to do in order to make this happen. This is a real challenge, right? And yet, if we were to look at it and go, okay, this is something I want to do, universe, what do I do next?
So it's the challenge for that is to step into flow
Mm-hmm.
and allow. When
Because
possible.
challenges in and of themselves aren't good or bad. They just are.
They just are. You're right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right? And so we can face a challenge and we can make it harder on ourselves. Or we can face a challenge and we can go, okay, where's that easy button? How am I going to navigate this? Universe, guides, what are we doing? Right? We're not going at it alone in that moment. And it's no longer this huge insurmountable mountain.
Turn
Mhm.
challenge into opportunity.
Yeah.
Very much. Awesome.
Yeah.
And a big hello to Joyful Journey. Hey, Dan.
Hey.
How's it going? And that's awesome, Rachel. Thanks for joining us. We're always glad to have you too. Hypnocity has shared a couple of her ideals: compassion, love, assistance, encouragement, patience.
Very nice.
Mhm.
That's great.
That is
Awesome.
great. And all 5 of those are things that we can actually use to help navigate challenge.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
I appreciate though, Gerald, what you're saying about that idea that challenge gives a vested interest in something too,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
As long as we don't, defeat ourselves before we start,
True.
then we're able to embrace that challenge.
Yes. As a person who I like to do readings for people, I like tarot readings, I like doing channeled messages, etc. A challenge for me is how to do that online in a free venue that is appropriate for the energy exchange.
Yes.
So a challenge for me is keeping myself at the appropriate level. I have to stay within the speed limit for the venue.
Right.
So it's an interesting thing, and I think in that challenge, it feels very much like I can grow and I can evolve based upon my situation. So it's because the more I do the 8 of Pentacles, the more I hone that skill,
Mm-hmm.
the more likely I am to make the appropriate adjustment to the course.
Exactly.
So,
well, and I think it's also important to allow ourselves to make those adjustments, right? And to reassess the speed of the speed of the reading, the speed of whatever, it's reassessing. Am I still feeling valued? Am I still in the right space for this, right?
yes.
Doing that sort of thing.
Yes.
As well. And Rachel, Jen was just talking about that. Her challenge is listening to others without feeling the need to judge or analyze. So that's in the energies right now, because you brought that up, right?
It's true.
In terms of the judgment or the nitpicking. You mentioned nitpicking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's the energies. So it's something for us to be aware of.
Yeah. I mean, the shadow aspect for the 4th gate, which is what we're in right now, is intolerance, right? And getting caught up in, wanting things a certain way or perceiving that things have to be a certain way. Right. And so that, we can get caught up maybe in a little bit of that kind of narrow-minded, this is how it's supposed to be. Right. And it's interesting too, because even in, the challenge that you shared, Gerald, and thank you for sharing it, we can look at that and go, okay, is there a set way that this is supposed to happen in order for this exchange to be appropriate? Or we can go, okay, am I feeling the exchange in the moment? And if I am, I'm going to continue. And if I'm not, I'm not.
Yes.
Moment by moment assessment, right, of where we're at.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes. I
Without
think that's one of
judgment. I think that
without
there's a
judgment.
distinction.
Yeah.
There's a distinction there between, assessment and judgment. So that we're not judging self or others or the situation, right? It's assessing it.
Yeah.
Somehow it feels softer, the word. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and I do appreciate what Rachel is saying about that. Without feeling the need to judge or analyze. That's so true. I think many of us now, with all of the energies that are going on, I'm going to blame it on the energies, but this is true.
Yeah.
I think
All on them.
I think it's true all of the time. I think most people want to feel heard and they want to feel seen.
Yeah.
And a great way to help somebody feel seen is to listen to what they're saying, just with the listening to understand, not to solve, because trust me, I'm not a problem to solve.
Yeah.
And if I am, I'm not your problem to solve.
Yeah.
So
You're on the same wavelength as Hypnocity.
That conversation has come up so many times, actually, just today, about not making other people your problem to solve.
yeah.
Support, not save, right? We're not needing to save anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And
Big hello to Betsy too.
Hello,
Hey,
Betsy. What's also really powerful with that is, what if it was easy? Sometimes it's easier not to tell people when we're struggling not to fix them, because I want to analyze, I want to judge. And the courageous aspect of it is to say, hang on just a second. I got caught up, and I've said this to some people. Hang on. I need you to say what you need again, because I was approaching this as you needed me to solve something and you don't. You need me to hear you. So can you tell me that again so I can listen?
Mm-hmm.
And boy, when somebody actually says that,
Yeah.
it's a world of difference, because I know exactly where they are. They see where I am, and then it's like, oh, this is good. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
It's beautiful. And do you see how that would make it easier? That would make the connection easier, the communication easier, the ability to support and be supported easier.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love that, Gerald. Thank you.
We both love that.
I didn't want to speak for both of us, but I figure, yeah.
Yeah. No. We both said it at the same time. It was great.
Yeah.
That takes some skill, because if it's not easy to recognize when I've stopped listening to hear and listening to answer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When I've done that switch. And so I do think it's a key thing for us to just slow down and go, wait a minute, I'm lost.
Yeah.
Let me turn off my phone so that I can pay attention to you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, and I've said to people, if I'm distracted,
or let me let the dog out so I can pay attention. I'll be right back.
Right.
There you go.
I've said that to people, like, you know what? I'm feeling really distracted right now. Can we have this conversation a little later?
Yes.
Because right now I'm not going to be able to pay attention to you because I have whatever going on. So can we please have this conversation a little later? I want to make sure that I can hold space for you.
Yeah. And it, I think we need to normalize that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've actually had, and I was doing it with Tanis. I was doing something. I was writing an email, and I said, I'm writing an email because I knew if I didn't write that email then, it was going to be on my mind.
Yeah.
And so, and that's the thing. And of course, it's a good idea if you let people know where you are.
Yeah.
And I'm perfectly fine with somebody saying, I've done this with people. I'm expecting a phone call from so-and-so. I'm going to have my phone with me and I need to take it. Great. Thank you. Because that way you don't have to, it's not under the skies of darkness and you keep checking your phone. It's like, great. If you let me know what's on your mind, it's perfect.
Yeah. Like Kaylee says here, right? If someone says that kind of thing, it's easy to say, oh, yeah, okay. It's easy to show compassion when we understand, right? So when we understand what is happening for that person,
yes,
it's easier for us to say, oh, okay, yeah, right. Rather than to step into judgment right away.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what we do, right? We take it personally. We're like, what did I do? Why are they ignoring me? Did I offend them? What's happening here? Right? It's that unknown. And we all go into our own self-doubt and our like insecurities. And that's like where we go. So definitely.
Yeah.
And Hypnicity says the key question for me is how can I contribute to the situation instead of contaminating it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we can say hello to Francis. Hey, Francis, following from Kenya.
Hi, Francis.
And true, when understand is easier rather than stepping into judgment. Absolutely.
Very much so.
Betsy says great conversation.
And it's interesting too, like there have been times, and I can, speak from experience, where you'll say like, I'm not present right now, or I can't follow this right now. And then the other person's upset. Right. And so we don't always have that honored, but also giving ourselves enough compassion to know it's okay to still set that boundary.
That's right.
Because that person may actually say, I need to talk about this now because this is what's going on. It also informs the others. So it's like, oh, okay, I will adjust. Let me do this. And then I can give you my full attention.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's interesting too, we talk about, the energy and the mind and the way it gets involved. And you think about like certain people who are very much in the moment and they need to process in the moment. And then there are some people who need to take time for whatever reason, right? Either because they need to go off and feel the emotions of it, or they need to let themselves process it, or they need to talk to people about it, or they need to do all these other things before they actually know for sure how they feel about it. And so the more that we honor where other people are, recognizing the triggers that happen within us when we have to hold that space in a way that doesn't necessarily feel comfortable for us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's still easier if we take the time to understand each other.
Yeah.
Than it is to just get caught up in our mind.
It's that shared understanding that can be so key in any interaction.
Yeah.
Right. I know that's even a term that we used in business. And when I was managing, it was like, okay, we need a shared understanding here. We're not on the same page. Let's find this shared understanding. And it's something that most people will respect if they're in some kind of a meeting or something like that. So whether it's business or personal, it can be, that type of approach can be used, right?
Yeah.
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 What do you think watching? This is a good conversation. I feel like you. I'm not using my tiny hands.
He's using his regular hands.
I'm using my regular hands. But I mean, and
Hi, Lori.
Hi, Lori. I think there's a great opportunity to understand all of the energy exchange. And here's the thing. Also, listen to me. Here's the thing. What may be easy for me could be challenging for Jen, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So it's important. I have to keep in mind, like was said earlier, I don't know how much courage this has taken this person to say what they need. I need to be present with them and honor the fact that they've said it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've had those conversations with people where you can tell they've been stewing over something,
Mm-hmm.
and they say it, and you're like, okay. And they're like, you're okay? I'm like, yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell that it's just taken so much effort for them to prepare themselves to be able to share this, to create that understanding, which is, it's a beautiful thing when people actually do that and they take the time to make the effort. And because it does help to create that, the compassion between.
Yeah. I have thought about times when people have had the courage to tell me something that's important because they're preoccupied or something like that. And I'm like going, you know what? I'm glad you told me.
Yeah.
I also follow it up and I very authentically say, the fact that you cared enough to tell me this now helps me understand how important you think our relationship is.
Mm-hmm.
And that means a lot to me. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I'm like truly honored that you
It's
that
just
you
like
did this, right?
Yeah, you valued me enough. And I've had some tough conversations with people. And it's like, I don't know what you're going to think, and they're really worried about what's going to happen. And I'm like, then the fact that you told me this speaks volumes of how much you value the relationship. And of course it's going to make me go, it's going to make me be willing to go the distance.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely. So we've got this is a really good example here. I'm a watery Cancer. My husband is fiery Sagittarius. I let him know if I'm sharing for suggestions or simply venting. It works when I tell him it's in the stars.
Yep. I love that.
Amazing.
I love that. Yeah.
Hey, Brenda. Thanks for joining us. Yeah. Jen says it's good balance. You're lucky.
Yeah.
It's speaking to so many relationships for me right now. Things are very raw. It's a lot to process. Absolutely. That is what's coming up for many right now. This feeling of being raw, like there's so much happening, and like you just finish, it's like the onion, right? You just finish peeling a layer.
And then there's another one.
What? We have to do another layer right now? Can I have some recovery time, please?
No, it's interesting though, too, reflecting on what you were sharing, Gerald, because not everybody is able to receive things that way. Right? Because we get triggered, or because of, our own insecurities or whatever is going on. And I think that, the more we work to hold that space for each other, the more that space can be held for us too, because we have to sometimes model that. And that's really hard. Right. But to be able to go, okay, and even to say, and I know this has happened before in conversations with people where you go, wow, okay, thank you for sharing that. I'm a little triggered right now because of my stuff or because of what that brings up inside of me. But I do want to still talk about this, and I do want to still work on it. Right. But being able to really acknowledge where we're at and express that and have that vulnerability is exceptionally hard.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And,
but it's kind of like that chopped wood, right? Because the more you do it, the easier that becomes, right?
Yeah.
It does take some practice to do that the authentic thing, and share and be out there.
Yeah. And this is not something I was always good at. In fact, I wasn't good at it for most of my life. And I still struggle with it at times.
Yeah, me too.
A mentor once said to me, when you have a moment of awareness about your inflection, it's important to recognize that that's what happened. If it was 30 seconds ago, if it was 10 years ago, it's still very important to honor that and to recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's like, really? Okay. It's like,
Yeah.
dang.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's like, I mean, you do something that is perceived as error, and going back to apologize, even if it's something that you couldn't apologize for at the time, going back years later and just acknowledging and saying, you know what, I screwed up and I'm really sorry. I know it doesn't change anything, but I'm sorry. Even if you do that, that can be hugely freeing for yourself and for the other person. They feel acknowledged in it, and you can release that and not have to. It's like that forgiveness piece, right? You don't have to hold on to that energy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Betsy said something, and it's I'm wondering, this idea of, you know, things are raw right now.
Mm-hmm.
What can we do about that? Is there something that we can do that, you know, with this energy? And, you know, this is for entertainment purposes only, but there is this idea of is there's so much energy, and everybody is experiencing it differently, and probably equally as powerfully. And so that's different. What do we do? What do we do? I'm curious if anybody has any suggestions for that. So,
well, I think, you know, the self-compassion piece is huge, because when we're raw, we tend to be very like, crap, I shouldn't have said that, or shouldn't have done that, or we get into that negative self-talk really easily. Or we're short-tempered. So really, like, taking some time alone, away from people, for you to sort of breathe and go, okay, all right, what do I need right now? What am I gonna, what does my body need? What do my emotions need? What does my energy need at this moment? And giving yourself that. I think the rawness is an indicator that we're in need for something.
that makes sense.
Yeah. And also, like, care for it. I mean, if you think about like a wound, right? When it's raw, when it's open, it's sensitive to anything that touches it. So if something, you know, hits us when we're raw, we're going to be way more sensitive to it.
Yes.
Right? And so being okay with that, giving ourselves permission to be there, and to be okay with the fact that we are raw in this moment, and that we need to tend to ourselves, and we need to be mindful of where we're at. And even to say somebody, hey, around this thing, I'm really raw right now. Right? And so I need to tend to this in whatever way that is for me. And then once it's healing and it's in that process, then I'm going to be able to air it out a little bit more. Right? But until then, I really do want to protect it, and I want to hold space for it. And if, you know, we talk about like environments with wounds, and I'm using wounds just because when it comes to physical, we're a lot more kind to ourselves than we are with the mental, for whatever reason that is. And, you know, but to hold that space for ourselves and recognize that, you know, we don't go out with an open wound and roll around in the mud and go do this, that, and the other thing. Like we don't. And so why do we do that emotionally to ourselves and force ourselves to do things or be in situations that just continue to irritate that wound?
Because sometimes it feels like we don't have the option not to be in that situation. And so that's challenging in itself, and recognizing, you know what, I need a break. But because it took me a long time to showing vulnerability is actually a sign of great strength, not a sign of weakness. It's It's like, who would have thought? It's like, holy crap, okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's the opposite of what we're taught a lot.
Mhm.
Definitely. A big hello to Rainwater.
Hello, hello.
Thank you for joining us. And we have Leah. Hey, Leah. Thanks for joining us. And hermit mode is helpful if you're not using it to avoid healthy communication.
Mhm.
Yeah. And sometimes you need hermit mode first, even if it is to avoid healthy communication. Sometimes I just need a timeout so that I can get my thoughts, so that I, turn off reset the vagus nerve so that I'm not in the wrong space to have the conversation. Right?
Well, I'm gonna be grossly practical. This is sometimes when we're experiencing all this raw energy, and I've used this as a reason just to shift my perspective. I will say, hold that thought. I need a bio break.
Mm-hmm.
And what that does for me, it helps me to get back in my body.
Mm-hmm.
Gives me a chance to do something different, and allows me to come back in. And it's like it's almost like washing your hands. If you're cutting an onion,
Mm-hmm.
suddenly you've just changed everything.
Mhm.
It's
Well, and
still there.
You can use the symbolism too, right? When we go to
Mhm.
the washroom, we wash our hands. So we're just going to cleanse ourselves, get rid of that density so that we can come back without the same heaviness.
Mhm.
So I was shuffling cards. I have a habit of shuffling cards, and when I asked this question, what are things are raw, what can we do? Knight of Cups. We have to honor that these are the ways that we are feeling,
Mhm.
and it's neither good nor bad. They just are feelings.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Press pause on that judgment. I shouldn't feel this way. Nobody said you shouldn't feel that way.
Right.
You
Why
feel
shouldn't
the
you?
way you feel. And feelings are extremely complicated.
Mhm.
So allowing ourselves to do that, because it allows us to have that Ace of Pentacles moment. Bless you.
Bless you.
It allows us to get back into our body and to see things from a new perspective, because when it comes time to make the difficult decisions, we have more than just our sense of sight to guide us.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So,
And our feelings are that, right? They do give us the opportunity to look at things from a different perspective and to get the cues from our
yes.
environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Annie. Thanks for
Hello,
joining us.
hello.
Right.
It is a strength. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We are not robots.
No.
Nope. Recently, I'm having a degree of sadness about the people that I am not willing to speak to. They are raw for reasons that I do not want to discuss or ever even hear about.
Mm.
I would invite you to write about them, because it's a safe way to express it without stepping into it fully. I don't know. That's what I'm getting.
And I also think that you're pretty articulate with that, Lori.
Mhm.
And I want to applaud you for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't want to do this. And I'm getting emotional thinking about that. So
Yeah.
I'm getting a sense, this has been a very complicated and this is, what if it was easy? This was not an easy thing for you to come to realize.
No.
And yes, there are other ways to help process it, but yeah, I recognize that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And it's okay. I mean, we live in a society that tells us so often very dichotomous things.
Yeah.
Right? Know your truth and live it, but don't upset or offend anybody.
I know, eh?
And you get caught up in this, and it's like, okay, but you know what? If, and I like to use fractals because I think that they make it more of a mechanic and less personal in a lot of ways. But sometimes people are just not on our fractal. We are just not meant to stay with them for any period of time. And sometimes people come into our lives and we come into other people's lives and we are meant to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
Or they are meant to be the bad guy for us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's meant to trigger us.
It can be both.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's meant to trigger us in a way that it does something inside of us to bring about a change, a shift, something, right? And we don't always know what that is in the moment, and we may not know what that is down the road. But we hope that when that happens and we get such a firm, this is just my line and I am not about to cross it, that gives us a really beautiful opportunity to just sit in that for a little bit and allow ourselves to honor that. Right? And if down the road other information comes to us from guides or from whatever that shifts that for us, so be it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But it's okay to honor that line and go, no, I can't go there right now. Right? And if I can't go there right now because it's a wounding that I'm told I need to work on or something that I need to process to get through, I'll get there eventually because we always will.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And when that time comes, whether we want to talk about it or not, whether we want to face it or not, it's a coming. Right? And if it doesn't, and we're allowed to sit in that energy for a while, honor that. How does that feel? Okay, I have sadness now sitting in this energy. I recognize that sadness. Okay, I'm going to sit in that sadness and I'm going to allow myself to be there. And when that shifts, I'm going to just see where it takes me.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Annie says all feelings are relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hello, Tarot Your Way.
Hello,
Thanks for joining us. How's it going? Leah says the political division has been the separation between dualistic themes. It hurts, but feel your feels so you can move on. Yeah, if you can, right? Mm-hmm. Not everybody can when they sort of want to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See you, Betsy. Hope your client goes well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Boundaries are like tiered gardens. They make it possible to exist.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Lots of conversation, you guys. This is great.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Tunnel vision is affecting many people in my life. Yeah. They aren't interested in multiple points of view. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love when dialogue with people helps us find common ground. Some are not open to it. Yes. I think, and I don't know, for me, when people aren't open to it, it's because they're really kind of afraid of having that conversation, or they're afraid of putting their own views aside for something else, because that means change. Like that might change how they see things. And that can be a big change for we are all afraid of change, right? We all have this hesitance. Well, I shouldn't say all. Most are afraid of change at some level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and where there's resistance, it's often because there's fear of some kind.
Exactly.
In some way. Right?
Yes, it is helping me honor what I believe in and leave them with their beliefs. Not every situation has a middle ground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we all have our own different tolerance or boundary level that we need to respect, right? Whether it's ours or theirs or both.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Leah says the bunny's stealing bird seeds.
Okay.
There you go.
I guess they're sharing.
Most definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. And look at this. We got the best chatters. They're supporting each other.
Aw, that's wonderful. Mm-hmm. And there is a lot of division in the world. And there has been since the beginning of time, right? As soon as there's people with thinking, there's division. It is part of the reality. But it's interesting too. And again, coming back to the mechanics of it. And when I talk about mechanics, I'm talking really about human design kind of stuff here. And, when we look at it and we go, okay, this person is like really rigid in their thoughts, can we look at why that is or where that mechanic might come from? Because it's not personal. It's their stuff. It's not about you.
Mhm.
Right. And I come across
That's right.
this, sometimes too, where it's like, you'll look at something and you'll go, okay, but can you understand it from this perspective or that one or whatever? And the person's like, no, and they're not willing to see it. And we can get up and making that a really hard, challenging thing of trying to convince somebody else to see something in a different light. And then they do that to us. And there's this, split that ends up happening as opposed to being able to make it easy and just go, okay, we're not going to agree. So
Yeah.
either we're going to be friends and this is not a topic we're going to talk about, or we're going to go our separate ways because we're just not compatible.
Yes.
Right? And it's okay. But all of the thoughts and all the feelings and all the stuff, all the narratives, all of the previous things, all of our filters, all of that get in the way, and we get stuck and we hold on and we fight and we make it so much harder.
Yes.
It is okay to walk away, and it is okay to say, we're going to agree to disagree, and that's just going to be it.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Not everybody is meant to be in our lives, our whole lives. Very few are.
Yeah.
Really. Right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Different tolerance depending on current situations. Absolutely.
Mm.
Always remember to be kind, but not a doormat.
Mhm.
And that's
I always love that.
your
Yeah.
boundaries, right?
Yeah. I love that thing that I see on social media sometimes that says, in a world when you can be anything, be kind.
Mhm.
Ooh, yeah.
Mhm.
Definitely.
I like that.
Yeah. I like to use if you have the option to be right or be kind, choose to be kind and you'll always be right.
That's right.
Yes.
We don't, so much of what we fight about is actually opinion.
Mhm.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And we can be very strong and firm with our opinion, and that's okay. But that also means that we have to be okay with the consequences of what that is. I'm going to deal with them.
And I was just waiting for Kaylee to pop in. 5-minute warning.
Yeah. I was waiting for that too.
It's
Thank
like,
you.
it's 5:55, right? That's how's that here in the Eastern time zone.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just, which is always a magical time. I always use the cell phone as a thing, right? So you guys see it and it's purple and black. I see it, it's multicolored. And we could argue about this topic till we're blue in the face. No, it's purple and black. No, it's multicolored, or it's a black screen. Or we could actually look at the other side of it, right?
Yes. Yep.
And really, it's that simple.
Mm-hmm.
So
Cute puppy who needed a hug, right? Had to have a hug.
Exactly. And they have no problem saying, I want lovin's right now.
Yeah.
Yes, that was Seb.
Sebby.
Yes, Sebastian baby.
Yes.
Hi, Carla.
Carla.
Thanks for joining us.
Hi.
Beautiful puppies.
Yeah.
Sebastian.
And you had your 5-minute warning.
Oh,
Yeah. It's 5:55. 5:55.
nice.
So what that means is
I love that
Jen's-
example about the phone that you use, right? It's the example of like the elephant in the dark room and everybody feels something different.
Yeah.
And it's not always easy for us to turn the phone around, right?
That's
It's not
right.
always easy. And then there's going to be times where you can turn it, spin it, do all kinds of stuff, and somebody's still going to go, no, 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 no.
Yep.
and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It really comes down to the narrative that we make in our own mind about what that means or what that says about us.
Yes.
that ends up causing us pain. You don't love me enough to see it. You don't respect me enough to hear me. You don't, whatever it is, right?
I'm weak if I give in.
Yeah. And as soon as we have any narrative around it, we're stuck, right? Or if we just go, cool, you don't want to see it, it's okay. It's all good.
Yeah. Have you guys run into that? I mean, I've run into that, of course, in what I do, with the energy healing and magic and stuff like that. People try and argue with me about it. I'm like, I'm not. It's okay if you believe something different, but they're like, well, you can't believe that. Well, okay, if you say so, but
well, and this is the thing, like it's so fascinating because, okay, you say, do we run into this? I talk about this with clients all of the time. I'm going to share a little story if we have. Do we have a minute? We don't really have.
We can take whatever time we want.
It's
our show.
So this is a great story. I don't know if it's actually a parable or if it's just a story, but it's the story of the donkey and the tiger. Are you guys familiar with this one?
I don't know that one.
Okay. So the donkey's, prancing around the field, and he runs across the tiger, and the donkey goes, the grass is green, the grass is green. Isn't it great? The grass is green. And the tiger's like, what? Oh no, the grass is blue. Sorry, my bad. The grass is blue. The grass is blue. Isn't it great? The grass is blue. And the tiger's like, no, the grass is green. Right? And the donkey's like, no, it's blue. They end up getting into this heated argument, and they decide that they're going to take it to arbitration before the king, the lion.
Okay.
Right? So off they go to take their argument to the lion. And as they are approaching the lion, the donkey goes running up. The grass is blue. The grass is blue. Oh my goodness, isn't it true? The grass is blue. And the lion goes, if you believe it's true, then the grass must be blue. Donkey goes, oh my goodness, the tiger, he's so mean to me. He's arguing with me. Punish him, please. And the lion goes, the tiger will be punished with 3 days of silence. And the donkey, on his happy journey, off he goes. The grass is blue, and he's gone. The tiger, accepting his punishment, but kind of, like, what the heck, the grass is green, approaches the lion and goes, I don't understand. You know that the grass is green. And the lion goes, yes, I know and have seen that indeed the grass is green. And the tiger goes, so why are you punishing me? The lion goes, the punishment has nothing to do with whether or not the grass is green or blue. It is because a noble, intelligent, majestic creature like you shouldn't be wasting your time arguing with an ass. And on top of that, you came and bothered me with a question that you already knew was true.
Yes, that definitely deserves a fan for.
Boom. Wow.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Right?
That's
And
great.
that's what we do.
So-
We fight and we argue and we make, if it's our truth and we know it to be our truth, we don't have to prove it to anybody.
Nope.
That's right.
And if they don't want to hear it, it doesn't matter how much we go, look, and rip the grass out and throw it in their face. They're not going to see it.
That's right. So it's like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay.
Smile and nod.
You. Cool.
There we go.
So it's interesting.
Beautiful.
I had 2 cards come out.
Oh,
And I
that
was like,
doesn't
do I
happen
put
very
them
often.
back or do I leave them? And I was just told leave them. So, okay.
So we have 2 sets of
2 sets.
home
And
play.
it's interesting. So I've got be kind to yourself and reuse something.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So those are our things. So let's go through them.
Brenda says it's a lovely story. And Hypnicity is familiar with that one.
Mhm. It's such a good one. And it's so true. I mean, we allow our mind to get caught up in so much.
Don't we?
Right? And it's like, why? And to what end? And what does it matter? Right? In the big picture. Okay. Reuse something. It is time to remember the wisdom of your ancestors and look at your wasteful habits, grandchild. Your ancestors wasted nothing and used every part of the animal for food, clothing, and tools. Your grandparents were also thrifty and made use of every jar and every piece of cloth, wire, and thread. They understood that Mother Earth could provide for all their needs. They also knew that using her resources was a privilege. Are you caught up in this throwaway attitude? Your sacred feminine is calling you to stop and return to balance. Before you buy a new item, check the second-hand shops for a good used one. Look around your home to see what you can reuse. Milk cartons can be the next spring planters. That oversized pickle jar can be made into a sprouting container. What creative things can you come up with to help you reduce Mother Earth's burden? How can you help her generate new life? As you journey on this earth walk, remember that your ancestors' wisdom is inside of you. Ask them to help you do your part in creating a cleaner world. So interesting when it comes to the transit that we're in, and this idea of patterns and starting patterns that are good and healthy and amazing for us and for the planet. Because it is about that collective change.
Yes.
Right? Yep. And then the other one that came out, be kind to yourself. Dear gentle soul, you are very gifted in caring for those around you. We are here to remind you that you need to work on caring for yourself. Like your sacred mother, you focus on everyone around you and make sure all their needs are met. This is a great skill. However, leaving your own needs unmet and unheard dishonors your sacred lineage. Loving yourself is your true and only task. Know your worth, for you are a magnificent being. Be kind to the needs of your heart and listen to the signs when you have overstepped your boundaries. To live in balance, you must value yourself. Allow your own needs to speak their truth and honor them with your attention. This is sacred work. As you honor your emotional and physical bodies and deepen the love that you have for yourself, your love for others will grow. It is sacred law that what you plant into your own heart and mind will become real in the world. These are the seeds of the sacred feminine. Let the seeds of kindness for yourself grow and flourish.
Well, isn't that just appropriate? You can't make this stuff up, you know?
You cannot.
We've just spent the last hour talking about that.
Yeah.
I just love the way that happens every time. I do.
Yes.
I just love it.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Wow. That was a packed show. So that was fun.
Mm-hmm. What an important conversation, though. Oh my
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think it's also, let's remember, there's no perfect type of this conversation. It's an ongoing process. It is something that we need to keep showing up and doing every day. It's the chop wood, carry water. It's the, what if it was easy? If it was easy, that we may not be doing it at the deepest level possible. So,
very much. Yeah. Beautiful message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Blessings to you as well. So, Gerald.
Yes.
What have you got going on?
I have a whole bunch
to share.
I've got tomorrow. I'm having a laugh and learn the rocky road to responsibility. It's an ongoing conversation with Hexa, medium Betsy Palmer, and Hershey, the shadow reader. We're talking about our process and what it took to get us to accept responsibility. So it's going to be a very important conversation. And like and subscribe. People will be able to, they'll be notified. So, but yeah, so I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. You've always got such amazing content, Gerald, too.
Thank you.
You know, subscribe to his channel because there'll be lots coming up, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Jen, what have you got going on?
Yeah. this is it for now. Trying to think. Yeah, no.
Well, we're busy preparing, right?
Sunday, I think.
Yeah.
Sunday's the 18th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Mhm.
we have some stuff happening.
We're going to be doing the live card reading for the month.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so there's that. And then next Monday, and I'll be doing that from a different venue
On vacation.
for that week, but still be doing that. So yeah.
Awesome. That's great. And yeah, I was going to bring up the card reading, but you did that already, so that's great. And what else have I got going on? Open mic with Ramsey is next week for us.
Very cool.
And next Sunday, the 25th, is the first class for my Galactic Shaman program.
Wow.
It's a full year program, starting on the 25th of August this year, going straight through to the 8th of August, 2025. And we're going to be delving into all sorts of galactic healing modalities, looking at galactic beings and history and all sorts of fun stuff, finding out who your galactic guides are and all of that. So yeah, it's a packed year. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. It's the first year. Yeah.
Very excited
too.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I keep getting more and more downloads to put in, and so it's great. So that's kind of what I've got going on. And we've got next week, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Same time, same place.
Yes.
We'll be back here. And for those of you that are local in Ottawa, I'm having the Enlightenment Evening tonight. Pretty full, I think, at this point, actually, which is lovely. But if you really want, let me know. Okay? Let's see if we can squeeze you in. So,
very cool.
That is it for our show today. Final
Thank you,
thoughts?
everybody.
Final thoughts?
Be kind to yourself and reduce the pain.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Bring in the love.
Bring in the love. And I had the magic hearts. But I just have my heart.
You've got magic hearts.
There you go.
Sending you all tons of love, everyone, and we'll see you next week. Take care now.